What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Griever back here, your guys' host as always, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for 7 Deadly Sins, Chapter 320. We are on now, so let's get underway because Brandon Lee called. He wants his crow makeup back, Demon King. Was that not funny, guys? I'm not a very funny guy. I'm just putting that out there because I know there are other characters. I feel like this design, not just the crow makeup, but it's not Kenpachi, it's not Toguro, it's not... But I'm getting a vibe from it, and I don't know from what manga or anime, but I know that this design is heavy, that I've seen it before. I've seen something very similar, especially with when the Demon King shows up and his head's kind of cocked to the side sort of idea. And those muscles look absolutely ridiculous. So I know some people like this design, and I'm getting a very Frieza feel from it. I was saying that in the last review, I believe, is that I'm getting a very Frieza feel here. It's like, you get a transformation, and you get a transformation. Everybody gets a transformation. You know, people complain about Dragon Ball Z, and then you see this kind of shit, and it's like, power levels, not learning that doesn't work after a while, and now like transformation every chapter. It's like, slow down. You're not 5-form Frieza here, you know, sort of idea. So either way, yeah, the design, I thought it was okay, but once again, like, it looks more menacing. Don't get me wrong. It looks darker, more gothic, that kind of stuff, if that's what they're going for. But I do have some problems. Number one, the muscles with the whole like I don't know, are they supposed to be cock rings on his friggin' arms or whatever? But it's like, here's my muscle. It's like, oh, it shrink down, and here's my muscle again. It looks like a child drew the muscles. Like, this is my daddy. He's big and tough, and they just draw the two like big round circles. That's what that looks like. It looks kind of weird. Same with the little baby wings. Like, they're not these awesome demonic looking wings. These like little like baby wings. Like, simplistic doesn't necessarily mean bad. But just the little details like that, the things that are added are too simple. And they're giving me a very, like, kind of a jokey feeling. Like, don't get me wrong, the design of the face with the crow makeup and then the, like, beard and all that stuff, kind of a vampire king from Edinburgh, getting that kind of feel from him. I think the face and stuff looks fine, and if they're going for that look. But another small problem is, of course, the katana. Why does the Demon King have a katana? It makes more sense for the other stories, but remember, this is European based. This is Britannia. This is medieval era. This is not the Meiji era of Japan. This is not the feudal era of Japan. We're not supposed to be seeing so many katanas, especially on one like the Demon King. Because what was the problem with his swords that we've seen? He's used other swords. Both Zeldris, Meliodas, and the Demon King in Purgatory and stuff, we've seen multitude of European demonic-looking swords. Why all of a sudden this katana, it doesn't really suit him? Don't get me wrong, it looks cool and everything, but it doesn't ebb, it doesn't flow, it doesn't go with the theme, in my opinion. That being said, that's a couple pages in, but let's just go chapter by chapter, or page by page here. So, you know, he says, don't give in, blah, 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 you know, he's going through the transformation, and it's like, Zeldris, don't give in. We leave off at the end of the last chapter in 319, and we start off in 320, same spot, same deal. And then we see the new design. He claims something that, once again, will be taken for ha by the fan base, because he says, thanks to Zeldris' sacrifice, thankfully, your younger brother, now I am back to my original power as I was in my old body, not from purgatory, but he says from his youth, my old power and body from my youth. People will still use the argument when people power scale about how purgatory affects people, how the Demon King continued to grow. Once again, I believe there was probably a cap on that after millions of years. I believe there was probably a bit of a cap on that. Sort of like the Zenkai boosts in Dragon Ball Z. They eventually capped that off, that once you reach a certain height, the Zenkai boost, the biology of it, it doesn't affect you anymore. It's an exponential growth. But for anybody who collects trophies, PlayStation, network and stuff, I don't know how it works for Xbox, but for the first 8 trophy levels, it's only going up linear. You need 200 points, 400 points, 600 points, and it keeps going. Then once you get, I think it's to trophy level 12, then it all of a sudden you hit a wall. You hit a goddamn wall because all of a sudden it jumps up to a crazy number, and that number basically stays consistent, but it takes an enormous, your platinums and gold trophies are worth far less than they used to be. At level 3 and 4, one trophy would put you half a level, if not a full level. Now you get maybe 1%. I think it's half of a full percentage is what a trophy level's worth when you get to the 20s. So, sorry to kind of stave off there, guys, but that's just something that I believe. So I think there's probably like a ceiling, like a cap on this. But nonetheless, this line, once I read it, I went, the people will argue. The people are going to always argue about whether he's truly in his maximum form right now, or if he was just saying, oh no, it's similar, but it's not like the one in Purgatory, blah, blah, blah. So thought I should reference that, bring that up. So, because the rest of the chapter goes very simple, quite short actually. I think it's only 16 pages. I think it's a very short chapter, even though we get a couple of double spreads. It doesn't give us a whole lot. What all we see is Meliodas has to go full Demon Mark, claims, no, I can still sense my brother. I know he's still in there. The Demon King keeps taunting him, sort of idea, and they start clashing again. Meliodas, as I said, goes Demon Mark, but now when he's attacking them, they're going toe-to-toe, and he's saying, are you going to ask for help from the 7 deadly sins? And he goes, no, I can't ask them of more than that. So he's back on that. It was fine to wrap it up. It was fine to wrap it up the way they did, but a lot of people have had problems going back in the arcs and realizing that the 7 deadly sins should have been trusted with the knowledge Meliodas already had about the curses, about his former past, about all that. He should have been more forthcoming at certain instances in the last arcs, and some of them can kind of be forgiven. But now that they've come full circle, now that him and Bond have they already know it, they're not laughing at him, sort of like the Escanor point, they're not laughing at him, they don't think he's horrible and stuff. I can understand at the time, but the way he knows now he should have asked for their help. Now he shouldn't be such a brain-dead idiot about it. This whole shock at the friendship part is old now. It got ridiculous because it was resolved in the Boar's Hat when we all thought the series was ending in one of the epilogue chapters where he said, I didn't want to drag you guys all in, but I'm some happy you were there, all this stuff, thanking them for all their service and for helping him and understanding him and stuff. He came full circle. This whole, I can't ask anymore, that friendship is not a trading favor for favor. It's not keeping score. That is not what friendship is, and if Meliodas hasn't realized that, then I feel like we're going down the arena route from Shokugeki no Soma with taking his character, this very well-developed character, and going, here's his character development. Get rid of it, because we need to continue the story, and Meliodas can't be intelligent. So, yeah, that was kind of a bit of a moment for me. And I know the fan base is kind of feeling the same way. Same vibes. They have their different reasons, but it is a good reason. There is a basis for being upset with Meliodas' attitude towards that thing in this chapter. The rest of the fight goes, he does use God Eater and stuff because the Demon King is going toe-to-toe. He does use God Eater, but the ruler seems to be activated. At least Elizabeth assumes. And thank you so much, Bloodstained Alley, for doing so much in this fight. She basically assumes this is the ruler because he took the damage from the slashes, the physical attacks, but he absorbed all of the magic from it. And it appears that this seems to be darkness, like Hellblaze and stuff, that he's using with God Eater with his Demon Mark active. So that's why Enchant Arc didn't think to do that. But even that seems kind of stupid. You think, why use darkness against the Demon King when it's kind of one of those things where arc magic would be more devastating? Why didn't keep with the enchant arc part? I don't know. Why do a God Slayer without the enchant arc and use darkness against the Demon King? I mean, with ruler activated, blah blah blah. I guess it wouldn't matter, but still, I don't know. It feels like using a not very effective move on a Pokemon. It just doesn't work. And it wasn't me who brought Pokemon into Taizai. That was Nakaba in that Merlin water types and lightning types and all that stuff. So that's something totally different. The other thing is that when the rest of the chapter continues on, we get... See, this is... Some of it is just the chapter itself was kind of okay, but for the most part, nothing really major happened that we didn't think would already happen. And the fact of the matter is that when the Demon King, is taking these blows and they're realizing like, oh, and he's, kind of going toe to toe, this Meliodas is still not using any of his new God tier abilities, his Demon King level form or anything thereof. So that's kind of weird. Also, the fact is that what pissed me off before the end of the chapter is that Elizabeth's like, come back. We need to have a plan, sort of idea. We're getting in over our heads. We need to have a plan. And I'm like, I gave you a plan, people. I've been giving you a plan for over a month. Purge. Don't tell me Elizabeth doesn't have Purge. Don't tell me she wouldn't be one of the most powerful users of said Purge. And don't tell me Meliodas couldn't have went Demon Mark or God tier and kicked the living shit out of first form Demon King Zeldris, beat him within an inch of his life, cut off all his limbs, hold up his head like it's goddamn decapitated, and then have Elizabeth purge. Same way that Hendrickson caught an archangel with a very compatible vessel off. It's the exact same thing. It's possession. It's the exact same. Purge should work, especially since arc magic should be more effective against someone of darkness, like the Demon King, the embodiment of darkness. And in that weakened state where Elizabeth's arc magic was cutting him up and making him all bloody, Purge would work. I mean, there are so many other theories out there onto what they could do. Gother doing the same thing that he did to everyone when it was Demon King Meliodas, and they had to go help Meliodas in the mental world and stuff like that. But suffice to say, there are multiple plans they could have come up with, and they came up with zilch, and that makes no damn sense. The characters aren't thinking things through, and I just want to know, what did Elizabeth and Meliodas think they were going to accomplish? The Demon King continues to grow in strength, and they keep beating him, but not beating him too badly. Where did they think that was going to end up is anybody's guess. It just makes the characters look dumb. So, either way, that all happens, and then, Meliodas says he can't back down, he won't run away from this, he has to save his brother a third time, and those feels were good in the last chapter, but this chapter, it put on, with everything else going on right now, it just seems like a bit of a, I don't know, it's not brought up enough, I guess, about Zelda. Not brought up enough, it's just, I had the feels last chapter, you gotta give me something new now, Nakaba, we get it. You didn't give us any flashbacks. We didn't actually see Zeldris himself this chapter, so the feels aren't really there as prevalent in this chapter about that. And then, of course, the Demon King, after taking the God Slayer or God Eater or whatever it is, attack and going, that's kind of too bad. Sort of idea. And he's like, what's that? And there's these big beams, like these blasts of friggin' light, and they actually hit the Demon King, it appears, and it seems like he's actually noticing them, and they boom, 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 and the lake goes kaboom, sort of idea. I don't think they blew up the lake or anything, but all these exterminate rays, they could be from the Endora, they could be from Merlin, they could be from God knows anybody at this point. It wasn't named. I don't know who it was. It would have been cool if that was Escanor coming in like a goddamn archangel, using prominence or something like that, which he did before out of his back and just launching a bunch of these things. But prominence in the one form would do something to this scale, and it actually hurt him. But no, what do we get? The Endora. I guess the Endora, why get rid of the Sinner? The Endora got the Sinner treatment. Introduced this brand new badass looking character with this huge backstory and all this dialogue and all this epicness, and then just fodderized him and get him out of the way for just for something to distract the other characters, so that they can have a one-on-one with the Demon King. Now, same idea, they just replaced the Sinner with the Endora, but the Endora was not only off-screen for the most part of this fight. We got to see a little bit of a battle, but not much. We saw the baby Endora, stupid name, more than the actual Endora fight. That's sad. And they got fodderized and taken out at the end because they're literally riding on its dead body. The other Sins, excluding Escanor, the other five show up, Bondier, King, Merlin, and Gother. They all show up, and they're all like, they all have a one-liner, you could have waited for us. Oh, our calculations were correct. It's did you think you could leave us behind, doing that friendship? This is feeling way too goddamn fairy tale levels right now. This really is, because it's no, this is not what Sins was. It could have been handled well. This wasn't handled well. I don't like this. The whole rules, bringing up the rules now after not bringing up the rules. You think that would bring us back? Like, oh, that's a cool line, bringing up the rules of being a seven deadly sin. But it's watered down by all the silliness of this, all the fairy tale vibes I'm getting from this. Is this just me? Am I just being a hater today? I don't know. I read the chapter and I just looked at it and I was just like, hey, you know, the Demon King design, despite all the issues I had with it at an initial just quick glance look, thought it was demonic looking, thought it was cool, you know, and the fact that he's actually now starting to gain some momentum, I'm fine with, even though once again there are many. See, that's the problem. For every good positive point you can bring up, you have multiple points that can break it back down. That's the hugest problem right now with Taizai, I think, is that right now, Seven Deadly Sins, you have good moments, but they're overshadowed by the fact that these moments could have been done for an X number of reasons before this. It shouldn't have even came to this good moment because the characters were being, in your opinion or my opinion, stupid about something, you know, like all this stuff. We never should have seen this Demon King form because this should have been over before it began with Form 1. You know, it just doesn't, and that's probably my biggest issue. Same with the Endora. The Endora getting the Sinner treatment. Why bring up the Endora at all? You wasted my time. You wasted pages of this story telling this stuff. It's like giving us that trolling with all these epilogue chapters. Knockabout, trolling us would be great if your manga right now was in the popular, but your fan base is against you right now for the majority. So, giving us this stuff is not the way to solve it. And just fodderizing and going, okay, people didn't like the Endora, or people don't care, okay, I'll just kill it off and bring the Sins in, and they'll have another fight. No. Try, learn your mistakes. And these mistakes literally didn't happen an arc ago. They happened 20 chapters ago. 20 chapters ago, roughly, is when the Sinner died. It was like chapter 298, 297, something like that. So it was just over 20 chapters ago where he did the exact same thing to something with even less of a back. Now he's done something to even, like, a hype thing like the Endora, since we learned about it. They bring up a true Endora, one in full beast form, and I don't know, guys. What do you think? They didn't use the cover page for anything. The question was simply that Elizabeth has had parents in the past, like true parents that birthed her or something like that, which leads me to believe, I'm like, that's weird. Like, that it can reincarnate, like they can do the virgin birth sort of idea, or they take over a baby. Like, that doesn't actually make any sense, especially since after the destruction of Danforth, Meliodas just walks out with baby Elizabeth. Not exactly just born baby Elizabeth either. Like, I guess by the looks of her, probably at least a few weeks, a month, you know, like it's a baby. It's not a newborn, so to speak. So the inconsistency there, I don't know. So I didn't even like the question giving us some intel into that, which is not intel we really needed. There are bigger questions, Nakaba. I can list 100. But anyways, guys, this review has gone on long enough. So what did you guys think of the chapter? What did you think of the review? As I said, I didn't really care for the chapter myself because every single time something cool happens, you can like blow 4 holes in it, and it's just like this. Every chapter is a piece of Swiss cheese, and it's annoying. I'm tired of Swiss. I want some Gouda. I want some Gouda. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, guys, forgive my terrible cheese puns. That's all I got to say today. Jesus, this poor series. Anyways, Seven Deadly Sins, chapter 320. Looking forward to 321. Hope Escanor shows up and at least gives us a hype moment in an otherwise Swiss cheese of a chapter. That being said, like, subscribe, comment. Drink responsibly as always. We'll see you back here for chapter 321.